Welcome to the Vine Resources Podcast Show with your host, David Lawrence.
Welcome to another edition of the Vine Resources Podcast Show. Today, I'm delighted to have with us Benedetta Lucini. Benedetta is the co-founder and CEO of Oval Money. Benedetta, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I know it's right towards the end of the year in 2019 when we're recording this, and I'm sure it's been an exciting roller coaster year for you in the business. I hear a lot of interesting noise in the press about the company and obviously downloading the app myself. Tell us, our listeners, a little bit about who you are and tell us a little bit about Oval Money, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So a little bit about me. I'm Italian, born and raised, but actually left home pretty soon, traveled the world. I lived in 4 continents and in 8 different international cities. So I've always been curious to live across the board. I've been working in technology since 2008 when I moved to New York and then San Francisco to work closer to the tech world. And I've always been passionate about startups and the startup environment. My father is actually an entrepreneur, so I grew up with this idea and with the first personal computers in the home when I was really, really young. So I'm kind of a bit nerdy. Before my experience with Oval, I was country manager of Italy for Uber, and I had a regional role across Europe and joined Uber when it was a really small company and saw its tremendous growth. So I'm hoping for the same kind of growth in Oval someday, and very excited about what we're building. Just quickly, what Oval is doing is we talk to the generation like ours of very digital natives that move around, change jobs all the time, maybe have flexible gigs, and they are looking for new ways to understand better their finances and to save and invest for their future. We believe this is a huge problem because today a lot of these people have not gotten the right financial education, and the companies are not following them in helping them save for their better future long term. We also living in countries where our governments are spending too much and therefore probably will not give us the right pensions as they have given our parents. So this is a huge problem, and with Oval we solve it by using a simple app that allows you to link your bank account through open banking, and through this information we allow you to save based on how much you spend. So let's say you want to spend €2.50 for a coffee, we take 50 cents on top and round it up to €3, and that 50 cents gets moved from your bank account into an Oval saving account that then can be used to invest in our products. We partner with third-party asset managers across Europe that gives us the best products at the lowest prices for our customers, and we've focused on today having products that have an ethical theme to them, so you can invest in companies that care about diversity or have a lot of women in their boards, etc., or are green and protect the environment. So that's what our users wanted, and that's what we've created.
Brilliant. And I know you've got about 50 people in the team based in sunny Bermondsey down there in near London Bridge. Is that right?
Yeah, we're actually based in Bermondsey and in sunny Italy.
Fantastic.
A big part of the team, all of our product technology, which we do fully internally, is actually based in Torino. So we're actually based in 2 offices, and our team travels back and forth between the 2.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to asking you how you keep everyone engaged in the business between the 2 offices, but we'll come on to that later. But Benedetta, why don't you share with our listeners a little bit what a typical day in the business looks like for you as the leader?
So if I had a typical day, I think it wouldn't be a startup job. Startup jobs is I always say it's a bit like being a firefighter. So you're turning down fires as founders. So I'm lucky enough to have a team which is really talented, and they can get on with their different jobs. And daily, we have people who support our customers, who do marketing to acquire new customers, who do partnerships, etc. But daily we have some issues with either partners or suppliers, or we need to make sure that we close another big deal or go and raise some more funding. And these are the typical things that as a founder I look after. We are actually 4 founders in the business. 2 of them are more focused on the product side of the business. My third co-founder does all the marketing and communication, let's say the B2C side of the business. Mm-hmm. And I manage mostly all the like legal, regulatory, corporate, finance, and people side. So we take a lot of care about finding the right people, but then making them feel like this is the great environment for them to work. And this is one of the things I spend a lot of my time on.
Who's perhaps had an impact on you as you've grown the company, or in the last 10 years of work? But who's perhaps had an impact on you as a leader, or given you inspiration, and how they helped you?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I've been very lucky to have had really great bosses in my previous experiences. So I must say also, it started all through my father, which was an entrepreneur, but I had the luck to work with really special entrepreneurs like Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, and we worked directly, because the company was still small at the time. I worked directly with Ollie Somewhere of Rocket Internet. So like people who built really big companies from scratch, and that's always inspiring. I also read a lot of books about founders. I'm in love with the story of the founder of Nike. I believe very closely in the philosophy of Netflix and how they build their, like, say, corporate values. And I like to read about different founders all the time. So it's actually my thing. Every morning I go for a run with a podcast about some founder story. So,
and going back to that question I mentioned earlier about engagement, it's obviously important in a growing company. What are you doing now from the top to really keep your people engaged in the business?
Yeah, so first of all, we have a very strict recruiting process. Everybody who comes into the company has to go through a test that allows them to understand their skills. And once we've seen that the person is good on their skills, they actually go through quite a few interviews with also all the founders to test their cultural fit. So we really want people to fit with our culture. We just went through a revamping of our corporate values. We had written them from the beginning. Before we even had a product, we wanted our company to embed a certain type of values. And we've sort of gone through this process again with the full team that like pitched in and commented and discussed what our really values are and what the company means. And then we have, I think as probably people number 10 or 11 in the company, we hired people engagement team. This is a team that takes care of everything internal. Like it's like a internal team that helps employees feel like they're valued. We do a lot of cross team events. We do a retreat every year that goes away to let people go away. But, you know, one of the best things to really engage people is to give them responsibility. So we've created like sort of smaller squads within the company that are cross-functional, and they are independent in deciding how to run a part of the product. And that gives them a lot of responsibility on one side and therefore a lot of engagement.
I think you even got your yoga studio inside your office building, have you?
Yeah, we do. We do yoga classes. We do like a lot of startups, a lot of, you know, fun activities that engage our employees. Yeah. We have obviously a culture around food, being European, so we bring a lot of food to the office, and there's a whenever it's your birthday or whenever it's your Oval birthday, which means you've been at least 1 year or 2 years in Oval, you actually are the one who brings stuff for the rest of the team to celebrate you. And this has been a tradition from the beginning. And having people from different countries or even different regions in Italy, it's very cool because they all bring like their local sweets.
Brilliant. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing, you know, business leaders today, in your opinion?
I think that finding the right talent is going to always be one of the biggest challenges. I am super passionate about talent and hiring and people management. And I really believe that a good person in a wrong environment will do really badly. So finding the right talent, but then also giving them the tools to shine is one of the most critical parts of a business. And I saw it before in like super very fast scaling business, that growth sometimes is like, it's great for companies, but sometimes it can be like the thing that makes you die, because if you're not actually hiring the right people and you're just hiring for growth, then you could have problems in the long term where you lose the culture very quickly. So for me, this is like one of the most important things, is never lose your culture, even if you're growing very fast, and always hire a person because you think they're the right person for the job, not just because you're like desperate to have a person in that role.
What's the best piece of business advice you've ever received?
I think that when I was a little kid and I said to my father that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, he told me, being an entrepreneur, it's like a lot of days of really bad, rainy weather. But then one day it's super sunny, and you know how you feel after a whole time of rain. You get so excited about that day of sun. So always think about business this way. Like, no matter how many rainy days, one day there's going to be sun, and you're going to be super happy to have achieved that day.
That's great advice from your dad. And why you set up in London, of course.
Exactly, just to get used to the rainy days.
There's always a bright side. There's always a bright side.
Exactly.
What excites you about your industry right now?
Actually, I believe fintech is one of the most exciting industries, and even though it's already one of the most financed, it's actually just starting. There was a big wave on the payment space, but there's so much still to do. When we work with like banking sector, you realize that even like what we're doing in new banks, we're all still on systems that are old, like payment solution, like moving money is still done in a very old-fashioned way. Cards and card circuits, like they have like the plastic of a card is still a very old concept, and there's so much that technology can change. And for me, the exciting part about fintech is, first of all, global. Like, you can really create a global brand, which has been very difficult. If you think about it, most banks are local. They're not, they haven't scaled across countries. Two, it's inclusion. Like, you can really let new people into the industry. Just to give you a data, in Italy, which is it's our largest country for user base, 21% of women in Italy don't have a bank account. And you would say, like, we're one of the 10 largest economies in the world, and we still have this people who are marginalized. And so you can really find tools and solutions for people that have been never given access to the system. Most people don't invest because we did a lot of questionnaires and we worked with the universities to get these stats, but most people don't invest because they believe they don't have enough money to start investing. And that has always been like a barrier. And startups like ours that allow you to invest, starting with £10, it's like a lunch. And so everybody can really do that. And so for us, lowering those barriers and creating inclusion, that's the most exciting part about fintech, I think.
That's amazing. And actually, I'm quite surprised at that percentage of number in Italy, actually, without bank accounts. But hopefully you're helping them as well.
Yeah, we are.
So can you share a little bit? We touched on it a little bit earlier, I know, on the yoga studio, but tell me a little bit about what you do for your employees around well-being. How do you help your company? How do you help your people?
Okay, so first of all, we have a culture around remote working. So if you need to have a flexible and remote working, you can absolutely do that. We have parents in our company, obviously, people who are parents, and they can take flexible hours if they need to. So for us, it's more important that the time that you need to be with the team, so team meetings, etc., and then the work you do. But other than that, if you can manage yourself, that's the most important part. And it really helps well-being, first of all, I think. Secondly, we do a lot of things around health and well-being. In the office, we have like a sort of a playroom and a relax room in our office in Torino, which is bigger one. And that allows people to feel like they can take some like time off and away. So be in a place where they're reset. And also, we actually designed the full office. We just moved into a very large space in Torino. It's about 900 square meters. And we designed the space all around well-being. So there are no doors in the whole office, but there are rooms. So like the whole concept of huge open space actually is not very good. It's proven that it creates stress because there's noise and people can't work efficiently. So we've created rooms, and each room is a squad. So it feels like it's like a full team, and it feels like its own startup. And it's cross-functional. So it has all the roles it needs to do a specific project, and they all sit in one room. But that room has a glass wall and an open part, which people can walk in and out. So you always feel part of the space, but in a way part of your team. So we've actually worked a lot with architects to create a space that felt really homely, and to create lighting that is helpful and this kind of thing to improve well-being. And then we encourage our team to do health and sports activities. We actually plan sport activities with the team. We did the London Parks half marathon together with a group of people, and that creates also bonding and stuff.
Is there a story that perhaps you got from your childhood, and you probably got a few of these, but how that really influenced your work ethic in later life?
My childhood?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My favorite story, I was about 12 years old, and I used to get, my parents were both like hard workers. And so I used to get dropped off at my dad's office, and he would like close me in his office room, and I would sit on his chair. And for me, the funny part is like the chair that, with the wheels that moves around, and then this like big computer that was there where you could like write, and it was like what inspired me to be a businesswoman. Actually, before that, I wanted to be like an explorer or something, but then sitting on this desk made me feel like this was my place. And it's kind of might be a little sad because people dream of being in space or whatever, but I really felt that was my place. And so from the beginning, I was like, I want to work with this kind of object that I don't really understand yet, but that's going to be the object I want to work with. And I want to sit on this chair behind a desk, and that's what I want to do.
Now, Benedetta, it's difficult to forecast the next 6 months, let alone the next 5 years. But what do you think your industry is going to look like in the future, and how might that affect your operating model?
So I really believe that there's going to be an unbundling of services. And this is something that's been said before, but it's not happening yet. I really believe open banking is the start to this change. What do I mean by unbundling of services? I mean that today, generally, if you have a bank account with a certain bank, then you get a mortgage with the same bank, you get investment account with the same bank, etc. Instead, what will happen is, thanks to open banking, you will be able to have a bank account within one bank for doing one thing, then maybe another card to go far and abroad, then another place to get your mortgage, another place to get a credit line, etc. And you will have aggregators, which is like Oval, who will put together all of your different services, and you can actually access everything through one place. Without feeling you're constrained to one bank.
If you had your time again and were giving your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what would you say to yourself?
Study engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did business, and that kind of came from my 12-year-old. From there, I started like dreaming about business, reading about business people, etc. But I really think that having an engineering or computer science degree, even if I wasn't probably going to become a developer would have really helped with this industry. And so I would go back and study engineering and probably work a lot more closer to the product side and work in product, which is like a job function that only exists in the startup world, like product managers and product owners. Mm-hmm. And it's those kind of people that are in between business and the tech side. And I think that would have made me an even better founder, for sure.
I'm going to throw in one more question, and it only just referred back to those marginalized Italian females that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And it might be, some of those people might be listening to this, and some of them may be wanting to work either in the UK or somewhere in the world, but might be hemmed back by their language skills because it's not always been at the forefront to learn English necessarily. What advice would you give them if to take that leap? What would you say to them?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I think English is always going to be the business language. The great thing is that it's actually not that hard to learn anymore because you have all the tools to do online courses that are nearly free. So it's not a privilege anymore. I feel like I had a privilege to go to like foreign schools in Italy and learn English when I was a kid. But today, anybody can actually learn English somehow online. Even just watching YouTube, you can learn English, Yeah. And so for me, it's necessary. And what I tell my teammates, because we're like a English-speaking company, even though we have a lot of Italians who are in Italy. And what I tell people all the time is like, it doesn't matter that your English has to be perfect. Like you're not going to meet the queen. You're like just doing business. So what it is important is that you say what you need to say and that everybody in the company understands it. So it's simple business English that is necessary. And that's very simple to learn.
Great. I'm glad we touched on that point. Benedetta, thank you for sharing this story today. If people want to get in touch with you, they want to find out more about the company or perhaps even join the company, how do they do that? So
the best way is to go on our website, and it's www.ovalmoney.com. You can write at our email address, hello@ovalmoney.com. Most of the time, I actually reply to that email address still. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. And I generally reply to every message I get within, I would say 48 hours. I'm pretty efficient there. So I'm always happy to receive emails, messages, etc. And then download the app. It's really simple. You find it on the App Store. And if you get stuck somewhere, there's like a support that will help you get through.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And I don't know which of your co-founders did the artwork, or put the branding together, but it's a beautiful logo and the colors are nice, and it's just it looks nice.
Yeah, Eduardo, one of my co-founders, a designer. Yeah. He's very talented.
Yeah, it looks great. So check out the website. Benedetta, thanks for joining me, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you so much for having me again. I really enjoyed it.
We really hope you enjoyed the podcast today. If you want to listen to more exclusive tips and life lessons from our guest, go to the resources page at vineresources.com.